Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum and a very warm welcome to World This Morning. I'm your host Hajra Sati. Ramadan Mubarak to everyone out there, and joining me is my wonderful co-host Fahim Bangesh. Assalamualaikum Fahim.
Walaikum assalam Hajra. Hajra, it's always wonderful to open the program with you, and another wonderful day is here. Yes. And obviously we should be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for providing us, for blessing us with another day, with another beautiful day. And I hope that the blessings of Ramadan may be showered on all of us, all of the individuals, all of the Muslims, all of the non-Muslims, all of the mankind in general, I would say, because this is the month of blessings in our belief system. And I think that this should be inequality to all mankind.
That's very true. Thank you so much, because in the start of the program we are always reflecting on the wonders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and verily in Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that there are nishaniya, or there are reflection for those who think and who reflect. And certainly Fahim, I was looking through a research which was recently done on the plants, and it was a very interesting research, because whenever they are stressed they are emitting a very popping sound which is inaudible to the human ears, but this just shows that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has devised a communication system within even the plants, which we, our mental faculties obviously are not that high in order to understand that. So there was an experiment conducted in a university in which they have given different treatment to the plants. So there was one group of a plant which was well looked after. There was another plant which was not given waters for 5 days and it was withering, and then there was a third category of plant which was done a different sort of a treatment. So the category of the plant which was not watered was constantly producing the popping sound, and obviously because of the advancement in the science and technology they were able to capture that voice. They were constantly giving the signals, but it was obviously inaudible to the human ears. But this just shows that how the living beings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created on this earth, how intricate their system is. Exactly. And they reflect the divine fitra which we talked about it, because they are created in the image of God.
And also Hajra, exactly in relation to this, yes, I was reading something about grass. You know that smell of the freshly cut grass?
Yes, yes.
That reflects pain of the grass. Basically, that is the sign to the human olfactory senses that that particular plant is feeling pain. Whereas we find it to be very refreshing and beautiful, it's a sign that the plant is actually feeling pain. So yes, you're very right when you say that these are little things. If we start reflecting upon these, they will show us how intricate these things are, how beautiful these things are, and how beautiful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is.
That's very true. And Fahim, when I was growing up, so my mother is really fond of gardening, and she has lined up a lot of plants in our garden. So she always said that whenever you are looking after the plants, or whenever you are loving your plants, they always respond to them. And I think after reading this research, I can in a very depth understand what she was trying to convey, because whenever you are giving some emotional responses in terms of love, in terms of care to any being, whether they are humans,
any living being,
yes, they always respond you. And because there was a very interesting research the other day which came out, which said that even trees, they are also communicating with one another through dumping a lot of chemicals, and because their roots are all connected, so underneath our feet there's an entire system, very intricate system, through however they're communicating. Because if there's an attack, locust attack or any sort of attack on any tree, there is a divine system through which they dump out their chemicals and they alert the other trees so that they can take the preventive measures whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed them. And that system is called World Wide Web, or rather Wood Wide Web. So that's an appropriation of that. So that's very interesting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created so many intricate things, and obviously which is his divine reflection in the first place.
Of course. And of course, starting off with our program today, in our first segment I would like to introduce our guests. First of all, we have Mr. Imran Sadhu, a religious scholar. Imran Sahib, welcome to World This Morning, and Assalamu Alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
It's lovely to have you here. And with Imran Sahib, we have Naat Khan Ali Raza with us, and I think it would be very appropriate and wonderful if we start our program with a beautiful naat. तो अली क्या सुनाने जा रहे हैं आज हमें?
मैं अपने उस्ताद गिरामी साहबजादा सैयद सलमान कुनैन शाह साहब को पढ़ा कलाम।
जी जी।
ज़रूर।
अल्लाह ने यूं शान बढ़ाई तेरे दर की, अल्लाह ने यूं शान बढ़ाई तेरे दर की, ताज़ीम खुद सा को सिखाई तेरे दर की, अल्लाह ने यूं शान बढ़ाई तेरे दर की, तारीख था मेरी रूह पर मेरा आज कालम, तारीख था मेरी रूह पर मेरा आज कालम, जाली जो मेरे हाथ में आई तेरे दर की, जाली जो मेरे हाथ में आई तेरे आका तेरे दर की, आया है नसीराज तमन्ना यही लेकर, आया है नसीराज तमन्ना यही लेकर, पलकों से किए जाए सफाई तेरे दर की, पलकों से किए जाए सफाई तेरे आका तेरे दर की, अल्लाह
जज़ाकल्लाह।
ने यूं शान
सुभान अल्लाह।
बढ़ाई तेरे दर की।
अली
सुभान
रज़ा,
अल्लाह।
जज़ाकल्लाह, इट वाज वंडरफुल। जितना कंट्रोल है आपको आपकी आवाज़ पर और जितनी फील के साथ आपने ये नात पढ़ी, बहुत मज़ा आया। इट वाज वंडरफुल इंडीड। थैंक यू सो मच। नाउ starting off, coming to Imran Sahab, of course, we are going to continue with our discussion that we were having yesterday. We spoke about different surahs, and now I think we should move on to Surah Ra'd. Now, first of all, the name and the teachings of Surah Ra'd, as you would put it, and how would you describe it briefly to our viewers and us, of course?
Definitely. So, Ra'd actually means storm,
Yes.
and the reason it is named as storm because it is probably the last era of the last Meccan era when this surah, most of this part of the surah was revealed, and some of the verses are from Medina as well. And at that point in time, the situation in Makkah for Muslims was very, very, very tight. They were under pressure from the mushrikeen, and it was like a stormy situation for them. So, this is why this surah actually, the main summary of, or the main concept that was being revealed in the surah was how to give da'wah of Tawheed, because people in Makkah were just drowning into shirk or associating partners with Allah. The Kaaba was full of asnam, that is idols. So, in this surah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Prophet and the mu'mineen sallallahu alayhi wasallam radiyallahu anhum ajma'een to give dawah of haqq and stand firm. So, the surah actually, the second part of the surah, the believers who had been passing through long and hard ordeal and were feeling tired and waiting anxiously for Allah's help, Allah's nusrat, have been comforted by glad tidings in the akhirah. And then from ayahs 30 to 43, it concludes in Surah Ra'd that it makes frequent use of sympathetic, earnest appeals to win the hearts by warning the kuffar, and also give them glad tidings if they adhere to the warnings. So, and the end result was that whole of the Makkah came to Islam, they submitted to Islam.
Yes.
So, this also tells us if bad environment or difficult environments come in, you don't give up on it.
Right.
You stand firm, you believe in Allah, you give dawah, and naturally, because Islam talks about nature, ultimately the nation comes back to its nature.
Right, Sadhu Saab, so I'm sorry Fahim,
Yeah.
I know you have a question, but let's talk about the concept of Darul Harb versus Darul Islam, right? And let's reconnect it with the current situation that is happening in the Palestine, and we see that I think it's becoming a norm that in every Ramadan we see the unfortunate, unfolding of the events there, where
Yes.
where the Israeli soldiers come there and they desecrate the sanctity of the worshippers there and the sanctity of the mosque there, right? So, what does exactly Darul Harb means, what exactly Darul Islam means, and when you talk about Dawah, so when we talk about Darul Harb, so how can we reconcile these two concepts?
So, Islam actually divides the world into two portions, Darul Harb and Darul Islam. Darul Islam are those nation states or nations that have submitted to Islam by way of contract,
Okay.
and Darul Harb are those states that are offensive to the deen of Islam, not to
Right.
Muslims only, but to the deen of Islam.
Right.
So, there, as far as Palestine is concerned, their elders, hundreds of years ago, 1400 years ago almost, they came into a contract with Muslim world at that time. They signed a treaty with Umar radiyallahu ta'ala
Yes.
anhu,
Yes.
and Muslims to date honor that treaty. They want all the religions over there to remain peaceful with them.
Right.
But unfortunately, as we speak today, the next surah that we will be discussing is Surah Isra, Surah Ibrahim, and we Muslims consider Ibrahim Abul Anbiya,
Yes.
and we track the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to all the Anbiya, especially Ibrahim alayhi salam.
Yes.
Ibrahim alayhi salam in Quran has a very central role,
Yes.
and he also got challenged in the same geographical area, that is where the Israel is situated today,
Yes.
in Palestine, or I would say the Maqbooza Palestine.
Yes, occupied Palestine.
Occupied
Yes.
Palestine. So now, why we say that this is occupied Palestine is because they themselves signed a treaty with us, with Muslims, that we will be responsible of maintaining peace over there. The Muslims should maintain the peace over there. But these Jews were actually facilitated and were given migration rights by Muslims when they were under pressure from the
Yes.
Europeans, and they but they came with a different intention. They came with an intention of occupation, ihtilal, as we say. So now look at the visuals today, and we must condemn it. With their boots on, the Israeli soldiers entered the mosque and beat the Muslims over there.
Yes.
Yes.
And that
Today.
too when they were offering prayers. I mean, that's really, really offensive as a Muslim when we're watching it. Yes.
Had this thing been done any place in the Muslim world, but we must appreciate that the United Nations is condemning, but condemnation is not the solution only.
True.
So like yesterday, we were talking about lip service. I think action should be more
Yes.
concrete
Yes.
here rather than just condemning.
Yeah.
United Nations being the apex body should be taking actions against it. Because obviously, had this happened anywhere in the West or for any other religion for that matter, for example, Christianity being the biggest religion of the world, I think there would have been a lot of action.
And these nations, especially India and Israel, I don't know if it's a coincidence that both India is with I and
Yes.
Israel is with an
Secular
I.
nations. Yes.
So they claim to be secular, but their attitude, their actions is
they speak otherwise.
they
Highly prejudiced,
don't the so-called secularism that they preach is not secularism. It is again they put in their hegemony over Muslims. They enslave Muslims. You know, for 3-4 years ago, the whole of the Muslim nation in Kashmir was annexed as was enslaved in the name of democracy and in the name of secularism. Similarly, these Israelis are also doing the same thing, and there's a kind of a
Similarity in the both of the actions, right?
Similarity, and they also say when their head of states meet that we have got our relationship made on the heavens.
Yes.
The Israeli Prime Minister told this to the Indian Prime Minister. I don't know whether what did they seem to decide in heavens, to enslave Muslims on their lands and to enter their mosques, to put them on gunpoint. In Kashmir, they fired with pellet guns on the faces of Muslims. You can see it all around the internet.
Yes.
So, but again, with respect to Surah Ra'd, I would say, I would just give out a condolence message to Muslims, and advise them to be patient and keep standing. Don't leave their ground till till the world realizes and actually propose a peaceful solution of freedom for both these nations.
And the Muslim Ummah should be more united as far as these two places are concerned, because these two places are oppressed, they're cursed, and we have to do something about it in order to perhaps relieve them of their pain and stress.
And for us, especially the Pakistanis, this is a constitutional issue as well. We stand for anyone under pressure, humanly, or especially the Muslim people around the world. We stand by them. this is our constitutional duty as well.
Yes, yes. And I'm really glad, Fahim, that as a state, Pakistan has always stood with the Palestinian brothers, right? And we never recognized the existence of the Israelis. And I'm really glad that this is how we are injecting morality into the international relations, because generally international relations is considered to be a field where only whenever the interests intersect, you have a relation. So morality does not count, but Pakistan is showing a different model, a different paradigm where morality does matter in the international relations. So
because our passport clearly says
exactly
it's applicable everywhere except Israel. I still remember when I got my first passport made, I actually asked my father categorically, why can't we go to Israel? And that's when I got to know. I was a child back then, but then of course it was quite traumatic for me as a child that this is what's happening in the world. Now, Salda Sahab, talking about shirk, like we were talking about mushrikeen, right? But don't you think shirk is done on an individual level as well? Because Quran categorically says, have you not seen those people who've made their nufus, their nafs as their God? So do you think that in Muslims we have mushrikeen, especially those people who only and only listen to their nafs?
So wherever people of the same, they say birds of a feather flock together. So we Muslims, we stand on Tawheed and the concepts of Risala. Our faith is that messengers are slaves of Allah, and we are slaves of Allah. We are not their children, but mushrikeen, as they come together as a nation as well, and they have agreed upon as a nation that, for example, where Christians are in majority, they believe, and their systems also revolve around it, and they defend their faith as well. So where it is we will be judged individually on the day of judgment, but on the day of judgment there are ahadith and there is ayahs of Quran that nations would also be judged, and people of the same faith would stand with the nations. They had faith similarities. So and you can very well see religion is one of the major part, even in the Western world today. Religion decides the attitude of a nation as well. Pakistan, we Pakistanis, we are a Muslim state. We've got some more than 170 to 80 Muslim states around the world. I don't know the exact figure.
Right.
And then there are Christian states, and you can see the reflection of their faith in their countries. No matter how secular they are, the last president Donald Trump talked about abortion and all these things that he derived from the Bible. If you read their constitutions, you would read the concept of Trinity and God and Jesus over there in their constitutions as well. Some like especially the American Constitution. Similarly, if you go in the Russian Constitution, you will see that. You will see the name of God coming in as a matter of faith over there in the Constitution. Similarly, the Israeli Constitution. For us, the real Constitution is for Muslims, the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But we also, in our Constitution, we say that we are a Muslim state. We are an Islamic state rather, not a Muslim state. There is a different connotation. Muslim state is that Muslims live over there, but Islamic state would mean that the implementation of Quran and Sunnah is necessary. Having said this, we should also reflect upon, as we read Surah Ibrahim. In Surah Ibrahim, the story of Ibrahim has been narrated time and again, and it is told that how Ibrahim alayhi salam did a political struggle, and he was thrown into fire because of his ideology, because he said that shirk is not what is not an objective whatever for humanity. Tawheed is the objective of humanity, and when his nation went for Eid, so he did a strategic retreat. He then went into
Decimated
and broke the idols over there,
Yes.
and put that axe on the did not break the
Largest deity, yes.
the largest one. And when the nation came back, he said this idol did it. He said, how can they do it? They know the concept. He's just made of clay and stone. So he said that when it cannot just do anything to these smaller idols, why do you worship him?
Yes.
He cannot even put off a fly from himself. So for this conceptualization of Tawheed, he was then brought to the court, and then he was the decision was that he had to be thrown into fire.
Right. So, Sandhu Saab, let's talk about and reconcile, because you talked about the concept of the Darul Harb, and you said that the Darul Harb are those communities or those areas where there is a hostile reaction against the Muslims,
Violent.
right? Yes. And when we talk about dawah, obviously Allah's name should be spread, Allah's books should be spread in the entire world, and we should always struggle to make sure that the a message of the Allah reaches out there. So how can we make sure that we preach or the dawah is done, especially in the Darul Harb? Because if you notice the dynamics of the Europe, you will find that Islam is the fastest spreading religion over there, right? And obviously because of this, we see a very hostile reaction towards the Islam in the form of the Islamophobia there. So what are the implications of that? How can we reconcile dawah in Darul Harb?
Islam is the fastest growing religion since 1400 years.
Yes.
No religion has spread so fast,
Right.
and I think the other religions are being replaced by either by Islam, which is the fastest, and or these Western nations. You can see that their people are leaving their religions
Right.
faster than even blowing winds. The reason is why they are leaving the religion, because they cannot find tranquility of
And peace.
spiritual sides, tranquility of intellectual side, even tranquility of the physical side in the religion, how the Western society has secularized. So the secularism is also, on one side it says that it encompasses and it is inclusive of all religions, but on the other side secularism is very intolerant to the matters of faith as well.
Right.
You know, the result is if somebody tries to give dawah in their countries, for example, I can give you an example, Dr. Zakir Naik, when he started to give dawah in India, and the so-called democracy, and he also spread his dawah to the UK and the European nations, he got banned.
Yes, and let's also talk about how the Tablighi Jamaat was blamed in India for spreading the COVID. I mean, they were just saying, doing the dawah, but how they were demonized as a community, and they were labeled as the spreader of the evil and whatnot in India. So yes, you are perfectly right in saying that India is a very hostile state towards the Muslim, and especially that manifestation has been made more and more clear in the coming days.
Hadra, now more than ever,
Yes,
exactly,
that's true.
now that we've been listening to all the news items which have been coming in
Yes.
from the neighboring country, we
Yes.
do see
Yes.
how people are being oppressed over there.
Especially the Sikhs.
Yes.
Yes, even the Sikh community, you're right.
Today Sikhs are are being
Marginalized, yes.
marginalized, and they're trying a freedom movement over there now.
Yes,
Yes.
that's
like
true.
Kashmiris.
Yes,
That's
yes.
exactly
Yes.
very true, Sandhu Saab. Well, I must thank you for coming in today and imparting knowledge and sharing your knowledge with all of us and spreading the light. I call it always spreading the light whenever somebody imparts knowledge,
Yes.
especially good words of wisdom. Obviously, we do get to learn a lot from you. And Ali Raza, आपसे दरख्वास्त करेंगे कि एक और नात हमें सुना दें खूबसूरत आवाज़ में.
आए हैं जब वो मिंबरो मेहराब सामने आए हैं जब वो मिंबरो मेहराब सामने तस्कीन के खुल गए हैं कई बाब सामने आए हैं जब वो मिंबरो मेरा इस जोर से धड़कना यहाँ पर रवा नहीं इस जोर से धड़कना यहाँ पर रवा नहीं उनका हरम है ए दिले बेताब सामने आए हैं जब वो मिंबरो क्यों जगमगा उठे ना शबे तारे जिंदगी क्यों जगमगा उठे ना शबे तारे जिंदगी जब हो रुखे रसूल का महताब सामने जब हो रुखे रसूल
Back to World This Morning with Fahim Bangashan, Hajra Sati. Welcome to our second segment. As we said, we are going to have a wonderful discussion in the second segment. We have an awesome guest with us on the panel. We have Dr. Mubashir Daha. He's a consultant dermatologist. Mubashir Saab, welcome to World This Morning. Assalamu alaikum and Ramzan Mubarak.
Thank you very much. Walaikum salam.
It's a pleasure having you here, sir.
Same here, ji.
Sir, Hajra, have you noticed that whenever you see a dermatologist, they always have shining, glowy,
Yes.
wonderful skin?
Yes, yes. I think we are going to, explore what is the mystery behind it.
Oh, yes.
But before delving into that question, Dr. Saab, it's Ramadan, and obviously in a Pakistani household, you will see that there are a lot of pakoras and there are a lot of samosas and all of these oily stuff. And obviously that takes a toll on your skin, right? So what are the common issues that we face in the Ramadan which is related to the skin care?
Specifically in Ramadan, during fasting we don't take water and we
Yes.
don't take the liquid diets.
Yes.
For that reason, our body dehydrates, and
Yes.
dehydration direct affects our skin, our face, our skin, our other parts of the body. So what we dermatologists recommend to our audience and our clients that specifically take proper water and proper liquid diet after iftar. And what the people do in normal routine, that they take a lot of water after iftar, and then after iftar till seher time, they don't take any liquid diet, and they
Okay.
don't take any juice, they don't take any water, and they don't take any liquid. So what I recommend to people that what you should do, take the water in different parts. We have sufficient time after iftar till seher.
Right.
We should take a little amount of water after seher, after iftar, and we should keep on taking water and liquid diet, so that our dehydration level of the body may be okay, and our water content of the body should be okay, and so that our skin may not be damaged.
And Dr. Saab, also it's observed that people usually tend to have a lot of water after they've had a very spicy dinner or spicy iftar, and they tend to have a lot of it. And even according to a hadith, they say that you should not have water
Yes.
after meals. Being a doctor and following science, modern science, what do you say about that?
You are absolutely right that we should not take that much amount of water after iftar and after taking the diet.
Immediately after, right?
Immediately after
Yes.
taking
Yes.
the diet, we should take take water, but not in that much plenty of quantity. That we
Okay.
should take it in a specific amount after iftar, and specifically, as ma'am was asking, that we should not focus on the oily things in iftar.
Right.
Specifically pakoras and samosas. What
Yes.
is the routine in especially in Ramzan, that after the iftar we start taking pakoras and samosas and
Yes.
oily things, which affects our skin badly.
Right. And Dr. Saab, we have seen in the recent years, and especially it's very pertinent for our part of the region, because we are having a very scorching sort of a summers, and of those sun rays, and we are seeing that there is an emergence of a lot of dark spots on the skin, right? Because we are so much exposed to the the sun rays, and we have certainly seen that the summer have also elongated to 6 months now, and it's very hot. So what sort of remedies do you suggest for taking appropriate care of the skin? Because I was reading somewhere that these sunscreens are not that effective as their marketing campaigns tell us to be.
You are absolutely right. The sun rays are very damaging to our
Yes.
skin, because it has ultraviolet rays
Yes.
and ultraviolet A and B rays that are very damaging. It not only causes the pigmentation, it also causes wrinkles and aging signs on our face and other parts of the body. And there is a general concept in our society that sun bath is very much important for vitamin D production.
Vitamin D,
Yes.
exactly.
So that the people try to keep on going in the sun, and especially in winter season,
Yes.
and they think that we are producing the
consuming,
vitamin D
yes.
in a natural way.
Right.
This is absolutely right, but the dermatologist and international guidelines are that we should have sun exposure in the morning for 10 minutes only. That is
Okay.
good for
I
health,
see.
and that is good for our skin.
Okay.
But for the other for the requirement of the body, to fulfill the requirement of the body for vitamin D, we should take some supplements. As you are asking that what we should do to go in the sun for to reduce the pigmentation, to save us from the pigmentation and the wrinkles and the sun damaging effects on the body and the skin. We should use proper sunscreen.
Okay.
Sunscreen is effective and very much effective, but the point is this, that when we expose ourselves in the sun for a longer duration of time,
Right.
it may be 4 hours, 6 hours and 8 hours, then we should keep on repeating sunblock.
Okay.
Sunscreen, we should keep on repeating. It has specific capacity to protect us from the sun rays.
Okay.
I see.
So, if we are in a scorching sun for 2 hours or 3 hours, we should repeat sunblock. And
Right.
we should try this, that direct sun rays shouldn't be on our face directly. We may take some umbrella, we may use some hat, we may use some pea cap like this, so that the sun rays may not affect our face directly,
Right.
and the damaging effect may not be at that level, that if it's not coming to our face directly.
And also, sir, talking about Ramzan, what foods would you say are the most beneficial for skin? Because we kind of have every kind of food on the table when it comes to iftar and suhoor. So, in your opinion, as far as the skin is concerned, what should be consumed?
As far as the food is concerned, we should take some balanced diet. Balanced diets include everything. That may be carbs, protein, vitamins, and along with that fats also. My recommendation is this, that is not only good for our skin, that is also good for our overall health. So we should take balanced diet, which should include every component of our food, and it may also have vitamins and minerals, because due to fast we don't take anything, we don't drink water, we don't take any other thing like that for the whole day. So, to fulfill the requirement of the body for nutrition and for the vitamins and minerals, we should take all these things.
Because, Dr. Saab, as far as the advertisements and commercialization is concerned, we often listen to fruits, right?
Yes.
The main focus is on the fruits.
Yes.
So, being a dermatologist, is your main focus also on the fruits? Or because you were just mentioning balanced diet, that includes everything, right?
Yeah, the fruit is also very much necessary, but doesn't mean this that we should focus only on the fruits. We should also take protein, we should also take carbohydrate, we should also take fats,
Right.
and we should also take vitamins and minerals. And what I recommend normally, that in Ramadan specifically, we should take some multivitamin, so
Right.
that the vitamins deficiency of our body and the mineral deficiency of our body may be completed with that.
As far as multivitamins are concerned, some of the doctors are of the opinion that, of course, if you take it in excessive amounts,
Yes.
they're just going to pass out when you urinate. So, how much is to be consumed? That is the question. And what is to be consumed?
It depends on that there are many multivitamins in our in the market with different brand names. So we should take a supplement like that which has all the vitamins. And I may not mention the tablet name here.
Right.
But the point is this, that we should take some multivitamin which should include every vitamins of which is required for our body. That may be zinc, vitamin A, vitamin B, and other minerals. So we should take that. And as far as you are talking about that the excess amount of the vitamins and minerals may be urinated from our body, this is true.
Right.
But some vitamins cause the toxicity.
Okay.
So we should take that in a certain amount, and we should not exceed that level.
Right, and I think it is also mentioned in the Quran numerous times that excess is always bad, right? Moderation should be the way of life, and I think be it the medicine, be it on any other field, we should adopt the way of the moderation, because this is how things should be.
And I think this was one of the saying of Hazrat Ali when
Yes.
he was asked what is poison. He says excess of everything is poison, be it love, hate, food,
Yes.
anything that
Yes.
is.
That's very true. Thank you so much, Dr. Saab, for coming to our show, for
Thank you.
enlightening us about
Thank
the
you.
It was a
skincare
pleasure,
problems and the remedies that he suggested and the common problems that we face. With that, we will wrap up our segment and say goodbye and Allah Hafiz to you. Ramazan Mubarak to everyone, and until next time, it's a goodbye.